even if you're investing in anything that's giving you more than 5% a year, you're making money. Anything less than 5% at the moment, you're basically losing money.
As we're both New Zealanders, we both live in New Zealand, both Kiwis. What could you say the benefits of cryptocurrency for Kiwis or New Zealanders are, in your opinion specifically?
Yeah, so this is going to be really good timing. I'm probably going to use a few words that some people might not fully grasp yet, but I'll try to give it a real easy breakdown. In the last 2 weeks, it was announced like officially that New Zealand's inflation rate this year is 4.9%. So it's just below 5%. And what that basically means is that the value of our New Zealand dollar, the currency that we get paid in and that we use to buy things, is pretty much lost 5% of its buying power over the last year alone. So like, it sounds quite confusing if you haven't heard these words, but if you have all of your money sitting in a savings account with the biggest bank in New Zealand at the moment, they're giving you 0.1% interest a year, but your money's going down in buying power, or the amount of things it can buy, the value of it, 5% this year. So, you know, just having your money in a savings account, you might as well be burning about 4.8% of your money. If you had 10 grand, you're losing about $480 a year currently of your money, the value of your money. So it's something that a lot of people don't either grasp, or they just don't realize the full effect of inflation. And when it's this high, this is the highest inflation we've had in like 12 years in New Zealand. It's happening all over the world at the moment. But if you have hordes and hordes of cash just sitting there not doing anything, you're losing the value of it, you know? If you're saving for a house and you had 100 grand sitting there, you're losing 4 or 5 grand a year at the moment worth of that value. Or houses are going up, you know, 20%. As your deposit going up 20%? If you're not meeting that, you are going to keep slowly falling behind. So I don't know. I think anyone that invests in asset, be it stocks, you know, sharesies, that kind of stuff, property or crypto, like I think that's great. And I really like seeing people do that. Investing in businesses, just any kind of asset. So an asset is something that grows in wealth or builds you value or brings you money. But if you just have all your money sitting in a savings account at the moment, you're losing the value of your money because of inflation, and the banks aren't paying you anything for it. So yeah, as a Kiwi, it hurts to see young people our age like leave all their money in their savings account and believe that it's doing good for them, because when you do the quick math, it's really not. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that just leaving their money in a savings account, it's actually doing worse than what it should be, or what they really think it is doing. And a lot of people don't understand the idea of inflation and, you know, the interest from your savings account. So that's what I kind of want to get across. You know, even if you're investing in anything that's giving you more than 5% a year, you're making money. Anything less than 5% at the moment, you're basically losing money.
Absolutely. And I think that is such a valid point, because that's something that I learned very recently as well. And what made me also, I guess, trust in my decision in investing into cryptocurrency was the fact that, you know, we have this huge inflationary pressure on our dollar. And that essentially means that the buying power is decreasing. So, you know, if we keep it in cash, we are essentially losing money every day. And that's huge. And like you said, I don't think many other Kiwis our age, especially, understand that concept, because what it's portrayed to us and how it's put across to us is prices of commodities, prices of products, everything is increasing. And essentially it's the same saying: price is increasing, the value of your money is decreasing. That's what's happening. So, you know, I think it doesn't help that we're given this perspective of gas prices have just gone up 20 cents in the last 3 months, when inflation has also gone up 5%, because, you know, it makes sense for us to be like, oh, you know, I can see that gas price just went up, you know, 20 cents. That's a visual, you know, that's something I can understand, that, you know, the average Joe Blow can look at a big gas billboard and say, okay, yeah, I see that. That makes a lot of sense. Prices are increasing. But when you put it on the flip side and you say the money that you're holding in your savings account is now decreasing by 4.9% a year because inflation is at 4.9%, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what that means. You know, so and in a percentage terms, it sounds so little, you know, 5%, like, oh, who gives a crap or whatever. But over 3 years, you know, if you have 5% for 3 years, that's 15%. It starts to add up pretty quickly. And that's what I mean. I just feel like people don't see, or a lot of young people that don't yet understand like the seriousness of how much that can impact them over a long term. You know, doing an hour or two of research on how you could make more than 5% could save you thousands of dollars over 3 years, you know? So
if you do that by the hourly rate, 2 hours for a few $1,000s, anyone would say yes to work for that on the street. Well, you know, people are happy to take $30 an hour at the moment, but you know, they won't do an hour or two's research to save themselves $500 or $10,000 over a few years. So yeah, I just want to like kind of drill that into people. I'm going to make a video very, very soon about the inflation rate and try explain it in layman's terms. Like you said, the price of everything's going up, but also at the same time, it's just, you know, the value of our dollar is actually going down. That's another way to see it, and that's how it works. So
absolutely. And that's something that just came to me very recently, which is, you know, something that I would definitely advocate for and would love to kind of, you know, share and push that message, because I think it's something that, you know, especially for us as the new generation and the ones, you know, on the come up. You know, I've got a 1-year-old daughter, I've got a, you know, 11-year-old sister. And, you know, I wasn't taught any of that stuff in high school. I wasn't taught that anything through school about, you know, how that stuff works. So, you know, to be able to push that message and to educate others is, you know, essentially why I'm here talking to you, because I feel like, you know, you've got a good message to share, and essentially I'm willing to kind of back those ideas. And that idea is something that I think everyone can, it can touch everyone, because in our day and age, we must understand that in order to survive, we need money. And if we're losing money by being naive or being uneducated, then let's get educated. Let's start learning, because, you know, it's silly not to, from my perspective.
That's another thing. I've had the odd person, because I've been doing this for a few years, you know, talking about Bitcoin and investing. I had the odd person say, like, you know, you're just so money driven, you're very greedy. But I'm like, I don't see it as that. I kind of see it as like, whether you like it or not, you're going to need money for your whole life. And the large majority of us, me included, will be working 40 hours till we're 60 or 70, or maybe even 75, because life expectancy is getting longer. So kind of, you know, why wouldn't you want to just save yourself a bit of time and effort to make or save a lot of money just by doing a few hours every month of research on what's going on, or learn how to do things, you know? People will be happy as to work 40 hours a week for the company that they work for, but they won't put an hour a week into themselves when it comes to finances. I think that's what I'm trying to drill in. But yeah, like what you're doing here, I really like that. And it's the fact that growing up in New Zealand, I was never taught anything about finance at school. I think the closest thing to finance I learned was when I took accounting, which was an optional subject. But even then, I was just learning how to like save big companies on tax, like how like, you know, how like a balance or like a statement works. I wasn't learning anything about interest or loans or mortgages. And it's like, a Kiwi's dream is to own their home, and you need a mortgage for that. But if you don't understand how a mortgage or interest works over like a long time, it could cost you like hundreds of thousands of dollars just by not realizing how it works properly. And I don't know, I feel like we could be so much more financially savvy if everyone just took a little bit of interest in their finances. Whether you like money or not, you are going to have to deal with it for your whole life regardless. You might as well just put a bit of effort in.
Unfortunately,
I sound really blunt, but
no, unfortunately, that's the way it is. I mean, I think everyone can understand and resonate with it. But yeah, amazing. That's something that definitely needs to be pushed. And you know, I'm stoked that you brought that point up, because I definitely believe in that, and I'm very passionate about educating, you know, people my age to kind of shed a bit of light into these areas, so they do start to learn.